Welcome back to another episode of Motivate with Coach Camp. I, of course, am your host, Coach Camp, and we are here, Hernando, Mississippi. Beautiful studios of SRP with Mr. Derek Michaud. All right, today's episode is something that I know is going to hit home for so many folks out there, and I'm hoping that this is one of those episodes that really stand the test of time and that people really spread the word about this and people come back to this and watch this, because I feel like that there are topics sometimes that maybe we don't always talk about or touch on, but it is actually a bigger part of society's, I would say, norm. And maybe folks don't feel like it's normal because they don't talk about it enough. And that's what I'm really hoping that we're able to do today. And today's topic is postpartum depression. And the individual that reached out to me, when she spoke to this to me, it's actually was the light bulb that came on. I'm like, I've never thought about it. Of course, I won't have kids, but I've heard of and I've known people that have had postpartum depression. And I'm like, wow, that's a topic that needs to be spoken of. And whenever I did a little research on it, I'm like, there's so much to be gained from this. So I really appreciated her vulnerability and her willingness to speak on this. And I know she has a heart and a passion to help others. So that's what we're going to do today. My guest is Miss Bailee Harris, and we're going to learn all about her. But you know the deal, guys. Stick around for just a second while we have this word from my sponsors. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to have a quick second to let you guys know how much it means to me that you are my sponsor. SRP Studios, The Real Hernando, The Rhythm Section, Hardwick, Heating, Cooling, and Air Quality, Estes, Grading, Hodge Homes, Adair, Honey Farm, Miss Hippie Eats, Phones R Us, Ross, Sod Farms and Landscaping, Ivy Rain, Women's Clinic, Tonic POS by Tyler Young, and Coffee Central. Thank you guys so much for being a sponsor. If you'd like to be a sponsor, go to my website now, motivatecoachcamp.com, and click on the button. Thank you. Welcome back, guys. Here we are in the studio, and I have Miss Bailee Harris. You are the Marketing Communications Coordinator at Hernando Main Street Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, best job ever.
That is a long title, girl.
Yes.
If you had initials, it would be like the MCSCCD. I'm like a whole bunch of stuff there,
yes.
So you love it.
Yes, I do. We do a little bit of everything there. Every community event, well, not every, but most community events that you see, Water Tower Festival, Christmas Parade, that's us behind the scenes doing that, making it happen. So.
Setting it up, organizing it.
Yes.
I saw a video of you guys with you talked about the Main Street Water. Hang on, say that again. You said it. Really,
Water Tower Festival.
Water Tower Festival. All them words all of a sudden got jumbled up in my head. Saw y'all like 4 o'clock in the morning setting up tents.
Yes, it's a year-long thing. We get there at 4 a.m. But it's great. We love it.
And you know what? You need to love your job in life. Life is too short, y'all. If you're not loving what you're doing, change it. That's what I would say. Mm-hmm. So clearly there's going to be a lot we're going to talk about today, Miss Harris. And I got to know who you were because I'm a member of the chamber. Mm-hmm. And then you reached out to me, sent some letters, and you started watching some of the episodes. And you said, hey, look, if you ever want to talk about this topic. And I said, man, that is a really good topic. And I need to do it justice, but it's not going to be about me because I don't know about it.
Right.
You do, which is why we're going to have you tell the story. But before we start into it and jump deep into how this came about and how it affected your life and how you went down the road you did to try to help others, tell me about where you're from. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in South Haven. I went to school at DeSoto Central. So I grew up in the west side of South Haven, but my mom was a teacher. So I grew up as a teacher's kid.
Okay.
My parents were divorced at a young age. So that's kind of like all I ever knew, But with that came a big family because, whenever they got remarried, we have a bunch of family now.
Step brothers, sisters, all that stuff?
Yes, stepbrother, stepsister. My mom had my little sister. We're 10 years apart. So we kind of have a maternal relationship. Yeah. So came from a pretty large family.
Everybody in DeSoto County?
Yes.
Okay. So growing up then, what was life like for all you guys? You had all this big old family. What were y'all doing?
I mean, it's just like, for a while, it was just me, my brother, and my mom, and then she got remarried with my stepdad, and then we had Lily, so it was kind of our family, and then I would go and see my dad, stepmom, stepbrother, stepsister, but we both had, both sides had family.
So that probably worked out at birthdays and Christmas, huh?
Oh, 2 birthdays, 2 Christmases.
Man, what?
Yeah.
So racking up and all the extra brothers and sisters get over, hey, look.
Exactly.
Don't forget me over here. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And now my his parents are both divorced and remarried too. So holidays are crazy, but we love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all got like 5 stops.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So we're still trying to navigate that with the baby this year. But I mean, it's really fun. Like sometimes it's stressful, but I just have to remind myself some people don't have that much family.
That's a good point.
So.
Perspective does matter.
Yes,
that is a great point.
So whenever I'm feeling stressed out, I'm like, oh, we have all these places to go. I'm like, okay, we should be thankful that we have all these places to go.
I think that's great advice
Yes.
for everybody to take. Yeah, it's hard to sometimes in the moment when you're feeling stressed to be thankful, but then you're like, you have to pause and you're like, you know what? I know. It is hard. It's okay to say it's hard. Like I have 8 acres. I'm thankful for it. But when I'm picking up all the limbs that keep breaking every time there's a storm, I complain. And then I'm like,
dang it.
I should be thankful that I have a place like this. So anyways. Perspective matters. What did you like doing growing up? What kind of hobbies did you have?
I was a weird kid. So actually, I just got a job freelance writing for DeSoto Times-Tribune.
Really?
Yes. So I've always loved to write.
I think that's cool.
Thank you.
How old were you when you did that?
Well, so I was a kid that read the newspaper, like literally read the newspaper. Bob Balkin, shout out to him. I did an internship with him in college.
Nice.
But yeah, I loved all things. Like I really wanted to be a news reporter growing up, just like really creative.
That's cool.
I played volleyball in middle school and high school at DeSoto Central. Made a lot of friends from that. And then I stayed local for college. So I actually went to Northwest and Ole Miss DeSoto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Northwest. I have 2 degrees from there. Turns out that they don't equal a bachelor's. You got to go to the next level. I just kept getting associate's degrees for a minute, but it's okay.
But
Northwest is great.
Northwest and Ole Miss have the 2+2, so
that
you
is
get
true.
it all there. Amazing. Shout out to them.
That is today's world. I'm older than you, girl. So like back then it was just like,
Yeah.
No, we didn't have all that. But you know what? I got it now. So that's another story.
There you go.
That's another story. So then you liked writing. You're an old soul. Reading the newspaper. I wouldn't ask how old you are, but how old are you?
I'm 22.
22-year-olds don't read newspapers, y'all. So that is, and then you were a kid, like you were a teenager.
Yes, and I would my mom would have the news on in the morning, like for the weather and everything, and I would be watching it, like just watching the report. Probably shouldn't have been watching some of the things, like the negative stuff. Yeah. But I found it so interesting. So
yeah. Well, I think that does build part of your foundation because it shows that you were intuitive and you were creative.
Yeah.
And so your mind is probably always having all these innovative thoughts coming in and out. That's what writers do, at least the ones I've known. Miss Carolyn Wiley that just recently wrote the book about Pat Hardison?
No.
So she was just on my show. It hasn't aired yet.
Okay.
But she's an author. And talking to her, it's kind of the same thing. Very creative mindset. You can just take sentence structure and then develop this whole storyline. And I think it's great. Yeah. So then when you graduated high school, what'd you want to do? Which hadn't been too many years ago.
Yeah, journalism at first. So I was trying to figure out where to go, what would be best for me, all that stuff. And so since I wanted to go into journalism, kind of creative stuff, I landed on marketing, integrated marketing communications, which is what I'm doing now. It
exactly in your title, actually.
It does involve writing and you have to be creative for it. And that's why I love my job at the chamber, because we're always thinking of new things to do with our community events and for our members and everything like that. So I decided to go to Northwest and go to Ole Miss DeSoto. My mom actually did that to get her teaching degree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I just figured it would be best to stay home. Cheapest option out there, So when you're paying for your own college, that's what was the main priority for me. So whenever I decided to do marketing, I got my degree from there. I actually didn't end up getting a marketing degree. I got my degree in multidisciplinary studies, which is 3 minors into 1 major. So I got so one of my minors actually was journalism, general business, and professional writing.
One thing I find interesting is you're speaking. Man, you really are an old soul. Are you sure that you're not 64?
I feel that way sometimes.
Okay, because the mindset there, that's interesting, because the way you're talking about it is though, like journalism's this long time ago dream, but you're 22.
I know. I feel like I've lived a lot of lives.
And that's
honestly.
where I'm getting with is you're 22. So man, at 22, I was in the military and still had no idea who I was, where I was. I was discombobulated. And so when I hear young 20s, and I teach college, so I have a lot of 20-year-olds that a lot of Gen Zers, if you will. And now we're getting Gen Alphas coming in, and and so the mindset, and it's funny because they will feel like so much of their life is gone. I'm like, you're 20, you're 22, you're 24. Man, you got so much ahead of you.
So much time. I was one of those kids. I've always had my life figured out, I feel like. And as a kid, I always wanted to be a grown up. I couldn't wait until I was 12 so I could sit in the front seat. I couldn't wait until I was 16 so I could drive a car. I couldn't wait until I was 18. It just went like that. And now that I'm 22, have a family, have a baby, that was always what I dreamed of also.
So growing up, you wanted the family atmosphere.
Yes, I wanted the family. I wanted the job. And now I feel like I'm living that currently. It's like, I don't know if you've heard the quote, I still remember the days that I prayed for the things I have now. Like, that's how I feel like I'm at right now. So as a kid, I will say too, I was very close to my grandma growing up. So I don't know if that has anything to do with
That could. Some wisdom being poured into you at an early age. Yeah.
So, but I've always been like, I've always had everything figured out. Like, that's just always how I have been.
Are you like, are your other brothers and sisters like that?
Riley, my younger brother, yes. Lily, she's still 12. She's living her best life in middle school right now. So
I got you.
She actually does have her life figured out. She wants to go play softball at Florida and study marine biology so she can do all the things there. So yeah, I guess she kind of has it figured out right now too. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
Was that your mom's style? Was she kind of very, line, directive, do this, didn't do this?
Well, I think, like, as a teacher, you have to be that way.
That's what I'm wondering, yeah.
That, and whenever you're a single mom with 2 kids, too, you kind of have to keep them in line in a certain way. Yeah, so it's definitely very structured. Yeah, and she still is like that to this day.
I just saw a report. This is so off. This is ADD. Forgive me for a minute. But it does go in line with the teacher aspect and then the thought process and how structured teachers are. I mean, obviously, it relates to me. But it said that the 4 most successful small business related millionaires, teachers were one of them. And that was because of their ability to understand finance and then invest properly. Yeah. So it's not like you make your millions quickly, but they just had a really good way of processing. And teachers was one of the 4. And I'm like, that's amazing because we all know teachers don't make a lot of money as a whole. Yeah. So it really does come down to being able to be structured and disciplined. So what does your mom teach?
English. So that goes with the writing too.
Hand with the writing. See, I'm not a detective, guys, but it does feel that way sometimes.
And see, for a little bit, I also wanted to be a teacher. But I was like, I subbed a classroom one time and I was like, yeah, not for me.
Yeah.
So, but that's why, like, I guess I grew up in the classroom, literally. Okay. So it just kind of seemed natural to me. But I was like, I mean, I can use my love for writing elsewhere instead of just teaching it.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
And that's why you love your job so much, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So I think we've built a pretty good foundation. I think people can really see your personality. It's very out there. You're very joyful. I think that you probably light up a lot of rooms when you go in.
I try to.
I would believe that. And believe it or not, guys, I've only met Miss Bailee a few times. We've known each other through emails and that. And look, always just happy-go-lucky person, which is going to play into how this must have been so transformative for you and so bizarre and off the wall and confusing and all of those words.
Yes.
So then you said that you've always, growing up, you always wanted to have a baby. You wanted a family.
Yeah. So
how old were you, if you don't mind me asking? Because you're a young person.
Yeah.
How old were you when you found out you were going to be a mom?
Well, okay, so I got engaged at 19, which is young, but that was kind of the plan.
But you're mature, it seems, so you've got a plan.
I got married at 20, and then I found out I was pregnant when I was 21, and then I had her when I just turned 22.
And I wrote down here the birthday was May of this year?
Yep,
so the
May
baby
7th.
Brand new coming in May this year.
She's 5 months old.
5 months. I was trying to do the math. Thank you for helping me out. Math is not my strong suit, y'all. I know I teach school, but I don't teach math, just so y'all know. So then what was pregnancy like for you? Because I would think that you've thought of this moment. Here you are, you're checking boxes, married, got your job, you're living the adult life. Now here comes baby number 1. You're excited.
Yeah.
What is that transitional like? So like from 1 month to the next, you got the 3 trimesters. What is the pregnancy like?
Well, I approached it the same way that I always do. Checklist. I was like prepared. I was getting the nursery organized, nesting from day one that I found out I was pregnant, getting everything I needed to do, doing all the research I needed to do. Like, I just felt 100% prepared going into it. So after what happened next, I was like, dumbfounded.
Had you read the book What to Expect When Expecting?
Yes, of course. Your baby's first year, like all of that.
All those little
like I went into it feeling like I knew everything that I possibly needed to know.
Super prepared, which doesn't surprise me as we've learned a little bit about you here. And I think sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to misstep here. I think though folks that have that kind of direction in their mindset, they do feel like they have a better opportunity to control their outcomes. And I know that that's been the case for me. I have a game plan. I'll set forth. I'm a type A.
Yeah,
For those that don't know me, I'm a type A person. I like to feel like I can fix a problem if there's a problem to be fixed, and I can have solutions, and I can have multiple solutions. So when something's
plan A,
going
plan B, plan
exactly,
C, yes.
exactly. And so when things go awry, I don't want to feel caught off guard.
Yeah.
And one of the most helpless feelings for a person like that is when that moment comes and you feel like I can't fix it.
Yeah. Or change. Change is like the worst. So yes.
So did you have emotional swings or hormonal swings that you could recognize in the pregnancy?
Not during pregnancy. No.
So everything seemed to be fairly normal.
I had like that the pregnancy sickness and stuff. It was pretty rough, but as far as emotional things go, no, like completely fine. Just excited. Just getting ready.
Ready to make the day happen. Mm-hmm. And then when the day comes, all things went well, I'm assuming.
Well, the day
healthy delivery.
Yes. So I was scheduled to be induced, but I went into labor naturally after a ribbon cutting that day.
Oh, wow. So you're still
I was in labor during that
doing
ribbon
your
cutting.
job. How about that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Like, I didn't know that I was in labor. I was like, it's just pregnancy pains, like whatever.
How far along were you, if you don't mind me asking? Were you full term?
39
Okay,
weeks.
so you're pretty close.
Yeah,
39 weeks, okay.
Yeah. But I hadn't convinced my mind that I was going to go late for some reason. I don't know. I just felt like that. So I was like, oh, it's just Braxton Hicks. It's just pain.
Okay.
Midnight, went to the hospital that night.
Boy.
So, yeah.
And then baby's like, here I come.
Yeah, she was ready. She
Yeah.
was ready to, my whole labor and delivery, I think, was like 10 hours. Which is crazy.
That feels long to me.
It's not.
I get what you're saying, but it feels long to me. But when I think about
I was at the hospital, like I got to the hospital 10 hours later, she was here.
Okay.
So, which is fairly short for most like first time moms.
That is true.
So-
I'm a paramedic, so I know this, but it's still like I'm thinking 10 hours in labor. I don't want to do anything for 10 minutes that's hard like that. But then again, I'm a dude. That's why dudes don't have babies. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
There's a reason why y'all have been tagged by God.
Yes.
So when the baby comes, you didn't have any immediate health problems, but I do know because I did a little bit of research and I want you to tell the story, but you did have some health problems develop.
Yes. So everything was fine like my whole pregnancy, but I did realize toward the last kind of like 2 to 3 weeks, I started swelling a lot, which is normal in pregnant, like you swell.
Yeah. Preeclamptic.
Yeah.
Preeclamptic is what people call it.
Yeah, but I didn't get diagnosed with that yet. So my doctor was just like, oh, it's normal. Just like watch your blood pressure, all that stuff. And everything was fine. And then after delivery, the doctor told me that I did lose a lot of blood, which is normal, but I was very close to having to have a blood transfusion because I was I lost so much blood. I think just because she came so fast. But, so I did lose a lot of blood, went down to the postpartum area, not the labor and delivery, but like postpartum, all that stuff. And I actually passed out the first time I went to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it was the blood loss. I didn't really know at the time that's, what it was, but I felt so weak during that time. And I was honestly scared to hold Mary Beth is my daughter's name. I was so scared to hold her because I felt so weak. So and
this is in the hospital?
Yes.
Still in the hospital?
Before we went home. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so I was so scared to hold her. And so my husband, Austin, he's the best, like dream husband, dream father.
Holla, holla, Austin. Good job, dog.
No, he's literally the best.
That's good.
But he basically did everything. Like I was feeding her, but he like changed the diapers, got up when we needed to get up, like wheeled her to me because I was so weak. And so we were able to go home under the circumstances that we had to go to the pediatrician the very next morning because she was getting a little dehydrated. So we just wanted to make sure everything was going fine. We go to the pediatrician the next day, 30 minutes late, because we're exhausted.
Yeah, sure.
And so, but we find out there, most babies lose a good bit of their body weight whenever they first come out. Well, she had lost 10%.
Oh.
So, and she was developing, what is it called? When they're yellow. Jaundice. Sorry, my mom went somewhere. But yeah, she was a little jaundice and she was very dehydrated. So our doctor, Dr. Phillips, shout out to him too. He's the best pediatrician ever.
Okay.
But we had to sit in the pediatrician all day to feed her a bottle to make sure that she would get hydrated again because she was really dehydrated. Which me and Austin were crying the whole time because we were close to having to take her to Le Bonheur and she was only 3 days old at this point. 3 days old. So it was a really
first time parents
situation.
Thinking about all the worst things that could possibly go through your head.
And I felt like a failure because I was trying to breastfeed and that's what, like, she wasn't getting what she needed to be getting, which led to her being dehydrated. So I felt like a failure.
So you think that was the first step in maybe feeling some guilt toward the situation that really was out of your control, but you're not thinking it that way.
Yes, that, and you have to think too, I had just given birth. Like I was healing, had to sit in the pediatrician office all day long. So that was a really hard third day. So from there, we go back home. She's all good now. She's taken care of. This is day 4. I started feeling really bad. And like I would walk from the bed to the bathroom and I would like my heart, I would feel heart palpitations almost, get out of breath, really dizzy, feel like I'm going to pass out. I just attributed it to anemia and blood loss. Like, I just thought that's what it was. And I started shaking really bad. Like, I was shaking so bad that I couldn't sleep. And at this point, day 4, I hadn't slept in 2 days. Literally haven't slept in 2 days because I could not sleep. And I was like, I'm just having a little bit of anxiety because of the pediatrician appointment. And, you know, I just thought it was like new mom anxiety.
I think that's common too for folks that have a pretty good checklist in their head and they try to take care of things themselves and they don't want to overreact to something and then ask for help. I think that's another big part of it. People don't want to ask for help sometimes. They want to fix it themselves. So you're writing stuff off rather than addressing it.
Yeah, exactly. And it started getting really bad because my mom, like all of our parents were kind of in and out of the house, like just helping us because first-time parents, like, you need all the help you can get.
Oh, sure.
And
absolutely.
so my mom was there with Austin, and when I started noticing whenever they would talk to me, it was like I couldn't hear what they were saying. Like, it would just kind of go in one ear, out the other. I couldn't comprehend what they were saying. If I would try to talk back to them, I couldn't, like, form a coherent, complete sentence, which for me is not normal.
Interesting.
So I texted my friend Allie. She's actually our cousin, but she's a nurse, and we'd already been talking about like everything with Mary Beth since we were worried about her being dehydrated and all that stuff. And I told her my symptoms, and she's like, that kind of sounds like high blood pressure to me, like the symptoms I was telling her. She said, do you mind if I come over and take your blood pressure? And I was like, that's fine. She came over. Blood pressure was at 145/100 when she first took it, and she's like, that's kind of high, especially like being postpartum.
Sure. And so, you losing so much blood, you would think it would be lower.
Right, exactly. And so she said, you probably want to call your doctor and see like if they want you to come in. And at this point, before we were about to leave, it had just steadily rising 150, 155. Like, it just kept going up. So they said to come back to the hospital. And so I went to the hospital, and I remember my mom and Austin both took me there, and Allie took my baby with her because she said it's a very high possibility that you could be on a magnesium drip for 24 hours and you might not be able to hold her, and it'll just be like hard. And I trusted her because she's a nurse.
Sure.
So she took her. Thank God for her. Literally, thank God for her. By the time I got back to the hospital, they took my blood pressure. It was at 185/120. So it was just steadily going up.
That's getting dangerous now.
Yeah, and she said, you're kind of at seizure level right now. Like, that's bad. And so usually what happens after that, you get on a magnesium drip whenever your blood pressure is high, if you're pregnant or postpartum. And so she was like, I'm going to go ahead and start your IV. I have to get approval from the doctor, but I'm like 99.9% sure she's about to put you on the magnesium drip. So what that is, you just stay hooked up to an IV for 12 to 24 hours. I thankfully was only on it for 12. And then I had to be kept at the hospital for 24 hours after this observation.
So that's 36.
Yes. But I was feeling like almost hopeful at this point because my anxiety was so bad, and I knew something was wrong because I couldn't understand. Like if you were talking to me right now, I would just be staring back at you because I couldn't understand what you were saying. Yeah. Like kind of dissociating almost. Yeah. And I was kind of excited because I was like, okay, the high blood pressure is because of this. Like, that's why.
They had a diagnosis. Now they can fix it.
Yes. And actually going to the doctor, I was kind of scared because I was like, I don't want them to just write it off. Like, I know something's wrong. I don't want them to just write it off as anxiety. So I had anxiety about them telling me that I had anxiety.
That's interesting. That's a double layer.
Yeah, basically. So, after that, and I was under 24 hours of observation, I was like, okay, like it's problem solved now. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be able to take care of her perfectly fine. I'm not going to feel weak anymore. Negative. I got worse after this.
Really?
Yes.
Did your mom have complications with any of her pregnancies, births?
She didn't have any like, she had gestational diabetes with me, which is fairly common. The delivery was kind of traumatizing for her, but I think it's just because, like, the doctor that she had. And then my little brother and little sister after that,
they were fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes things are genetic. That's why I ask about it. Yeah. And so then there wasn't any kind of history to look at for yourself and say, well,
never had
this
high blood
happened to my
pressure.
mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that, of course, for people that don't know, and I teach paramedic school, so that part of it makes a lot of sense to me as far as like pregnancy goes, is the swelling, the edema, the high blood pressure, all of that is part of preeclampsia, and then what graduates that is the seizures, and all of those things can be life-threatening, obviously. So then them finding the magnesium deficiency, and they fixed your low blood count, and now they're fixing the magnesium. Yeah. Now you're about to go home, and you're thinking, okay, this was the problem. They fixed the problem. Exactly. I can go be normal Bailee with my baby, and life will be happily ever after.
Exactly. That's where my head was at this point.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. So, I think we're on day 5 or 6 at this point, or like a week. So I'm like a week, just say I'm a week postpartum. I've barely got to hold Mary Beth. Like I haven't got that initial bonding that I feel like a lot of first time moms get that first week, because you're home, you're with, like, it's just you and the baby and your husband. But I didn't really have that. Like, we had a lot of help, thankfully, just because I was so sick. And like Austin was taking care of her. Allie stayed with her. She had her first sleepover 4 days old, you know?
She's
so
already hanging out with family.
Exactly. And then parents were in and out. Like, it was really like they were wanting me to focus on my healing, which I understand and I'm very thankful for, but I barely took care of my baby. So at this point, when we go home, I'm having anxiety because I'm like, I can't do anything right. So, because you got to think, 3 days postpartum, her first pediatrician appointment basically felt like a failure.
Let me ask you a question on that. I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you think your family and friends were picking up that you were having this guilt trip?
Well, I know Austin was, because he was there through everything. I don't think they knew at the time, because they were doing what they thought was best. Like, they were helping me take care of her because I was sick. Like, I was not doing good. Yeah,
right. No fault to anybody. They're all like stepping up big in a big way, right? I get that. But for you, it's like, sometimes I think that, you know, if you're close to a person and you're fixated on the thing that you're trying to help them with, and I'm thinking this is very broad, obviously, I'm being very broad with this part of it, but you might miss the symptoms of the person. And so I was just curious if anybody was like, hey, are you okay, baby? Because that's not a knock to anybody. No, that's normal.
They definitely knew something was going on.
They knew something was
Especially with like the dissociation stuff, like me looking at them and not talking back. They definitely were kind of freaked out. I wasn't eating. I could not eat. But up until all this, I think everybody thought what I thought, that it was just like the high blood pressure and just like that
just made you feel bad.
Yeah. But after I got the magnesium drip treatment and it was still kind of getting worse, I know at one point my dad looked at me like really scared. And then this is like hindsight. Austin was telling me all this stuff. Like, my mom was like, something's going on with Bailee, like kind of nervous.
That's what I was curious of, if you were outly showing this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, especially with my dad, like, I'm his baby girl, always will be. He was like, you know, you can do this. It's fine. Like, he knew something was wrong, but he thought that it was something that you could just like get out of, you know? Well,
guys don't know. And I can say that for myself.
Yeah. And he would tell Austin, like, I don't understand why she's so upset, which, you know, a lot of people don't, especially postpartum. They expect you to be like so happy. You have this bundle of joy, you know, all this stuff. But something was definitely wrong. So they knew. And because that, they definitely stepped in to help. But their help kind of hindered a little bit. Looking back, I didn't know this at the time.
No, neither did they. I can assure you. All great intentions, no doubt.
No, for sure. So whenever we got back from the hospital, finally, week postpartum, I was anxious because I was like, felt like I was going to mess up. Like, anytime I went to change her diaper, went to make her a bottle, like anything like that, I would have a panic attack with Austin, like sitting there. And
I want to ask you a question about that. Do you think that was because that you had the illness in the front end, or do you think that that's kind of normal too for first time moms?
I think
because you're type A, right? Yeah. So you're like, I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah. And I was thinking, like, in my head, hindsight, or like kind of like as I was getting better, I did all this preparation. Like, I knew exactly what I was doing going into it. But then in the moment, I just forgot everything just because my mind was so jumbled. Like, I could not form a coherent thought.
I think I'm picking up something. So, Bailee, that's why I asked the questions, is because I think what happened was you got thrown off your game.
Definitely.
If things would have went as planned, and you got to go home.
Yeah.
And then things would have transitioned the way that you had it envisioned in your head. Maybe you wouldn't have felt as unprepared all of a sudden.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that on top of the hormone
on top of the hormone problem.
The drop that every woman goes through, like postpartum.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was happening. But, back it up too. We probably should have talked about this in my childhood. I've always been an anxious kid. Like,
oh,
always.
Really? So you had anxiety as a kid?
Always, yes. And it was kind of one of those things that was manageable, though. Like, you know, I would panic sometimes. But for instance, this is a funny story me and my mom always bring up. When I was in first grade, times table test, not a math person. Freaked out because high achiever. I wanted all A's.
Yeah.
You know, like the middle end of the pencil, cut myself so I would get out of the times table test.
You went ahead and faked an injury on this.
I knew I was going to fail this, and I didn't want to fail, so I was
dedication.
I need to get out of this. Yeah, but it was my anxiety because I didn't want a bad grade. So just like, that's what happened back then. Just wanted to preface that by saying I've always been an anxious kid. But
but I appreciate you sharing this because there are going to be so many people that watch this that are going to relate to you.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be, I actually normalize some of the feelings that they've had whenever they've experienced different stresses in their life. And they're like, well, all of this makes sense now.
Exactly.
And I went through so many of those same things. And that's the part about where we're going next with the postpartum depression aspect of it, is the fact that, you know, you can prepare for so much, you can experience so many different things, but then when the moment hits, you're still subject to suffering the same way.
Yeah, and you've got to learn to cope with it. Like looking back, you have to, because I just lost it. But yeah, going back to where I was at, it's like Austin was like, Bailee, anybody can make a bottle. Like, because we were on formula at this point. He was like, you pour the water, it's fine. But it felt like the biggest momental task that I couldn't do. Like, and Austin was confused because he was like, why can't you make a bottle? And I was just scared I was going to mess it up. Like, I couldn't change her diaper. I couldn't hold her. I couldn't do anything without feeling like I was going to mess up. And like constant panic attacks. Like, it was just crazy. And I was still having kind of the dissociation where I would just like, I couldn't eat. I couldn't think about anything. I couldn't sleep. Like, I was literally just there. Like, I was just a shell of a person, basically. So it was more of like the anxiety that turned into the depression. So it just kept getting worse and worse. And at this point, I was feeling hopeless. Like, I was like, because I thought that the preeclampsia would explain like why I was feeling this way. And then, so Austin told me, you need to try therapy. Like, you need to do something. And
how far into it was this moment?
I think 2 weeks into it was whenever we started trying to figure something out. I also need to go back to this. Whenever I was in the hospital on the magnesium drip, I knew that I was like in the recovery area, or like the observation. They put me on an antidepressant because I was showing kind of symptoms at this point. It wasn't horrible because I still thought that it was because of the high blood pressure. They put me on antidepressants that did not work. And Austin, like, he knows me like the back of his hand. Like, he knows me better than anybody. He was like, I kind of started noticing a bad shift whenever you got on the medicine. So I decided to get off the medicine because I don't think it was right for me. And so from there, he was like, yeah, you need to start like trying to do therapy or something. So I did one therapy session, felt like it didn't help at all. And so at this point is whenever I started feeling the suicidal thoughts, which at this point, I don't know if you want to give a trigger warning or anything, but
I think all this is very relevant, and people that are tuning into this, they want to hear the raw truth of it.
Yeah.
And here's the other part too, Bailee, what you're helping people with right now by sharing this story is there's somebody out there that's actively feeling this. They saw this caption, they tuned in, they're at this point in this podcast.
Yeah.
And they want to know what they're struggling with right now is something someone else struggled with, and they're sitting in front of me right now and they're okay. There's hope. And you just said hopelessness, and then you transition straight from hopelessness to suicidal. They need to hear this.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you got to explicit anything. This is real.
Yeah. Well, the first time I felt one of those or like had one of those thoughts, I immediately went to Austin and I was like, because I was terrified. I had never felt anything like that before. And I knew that it wasn't me. Like, I knew that wasn't anything that I ever wanted to do. Like, and so whenever I started having those, I was like, I have got to do something. Like, I still felt hopeless, but I was like, something has got to give because I have a baby I need to take care of. Like, I have a family. Like, this is not okay.
You never had a thought like that in your life? Anxiety never brought that on before?
Never, ever. Like, even anxiety, I don't think I was like a depressed kid or like teenager or anything
just have
like
moments where you got anxious.
Yes. Yeah. So I never had anything like that. So I was terrified. So I did a couple more therapy sessions. I didn't feel like anything was helping, and they were getting worse to where like I couldn't do anything. Like, if I was holding Mary Beth, I was like, I'm going to do something like to make, like, I never had, I will say this, a lot of women do have the postpartum wherever they want to hurt their kid. And that's just like, I'm not going to say it's normal. It's normal for that to happen. Like, it happens. Yeah. I never had that, but I had the anxiety where I was like, I'm going to do something wrong because I'm not in this. Like, I was just scared that I was going to do something wrong. Going back to that pediatrician appointment, I think that's what really did it in. Yeah. But I was like, I'm going to do something to mess this kid up. And so it just made it worse. And it got to the point where I couldn't do anything, think about anything, have a conversation without thinking like the suicidal thoughts. Like, that was on like 24/7. That's
Can
all
you
I could
describe
think of.
that?
Yeah, it was just like Austin would ask me, he was like, is it like a plan? Is it whatever? What it was I would be like, they would be better off without me. Like, Austin is the best dad. He would be fine without me. We have all these grandparents for her. Like, they would be better off without me because I'm going to do something to mess her up. Like, it started off as like
intrusive thoughts, but not an action plan to actually make that happen.
It'll be better without me.
You were justifying how you being absent from the picture would help the situation.
Right.
I got you.
And that happens with a lot of women too. Like I've done a lot of research on this to understand like what I went through. A lot of women have that. A lot of women have like thoughts of wanting to run away, stuff like that. So if you have any of those, you need to get help for sure, but it's normal to have if you have postpartum depression.
I find it interesting that you kind of picked up on it quick and you're like, hey, something's got to give.
Yeah, because I am in tune with myself. I was like, this isn't right. And so it was like the world would be a better place without me. And it just kept like going down from there. They did start getting worse to where it was a plan, but I knew that in the back of my head, I would never do it. I was still scared. And so like looking back now, definitely what it was definitely postpartum depression, but where I was, Satan definitely took advantage of where I was at and attacked me because of the postpartum depression. So I think that's why it started getting worse. And I think he definitely had a grip on me at that point. And that's whenever Austin was like, because we are religious and we are Christians. And so he was like, I think this is definitely spiritual warfare at this point. Like you still are having the postpartum depression, but that's where that was coming in. So this was the first time I got baptized in 2022. And so from 2022 to 2025, it was definitely, smooth sailing. Like I never had anything like horrible happened to me. Like I had a relationship with Christ, but it wasn't like I never had something like this.
You haven't been challenged.
Yes, I haven't been challenged. So at this point, this was the first time in my walk with Christ that I ever had to drop on my knees and just be like just let my tears be a prayer, because I still couldn't form a coherent thought at this point besides the suicidal thoughts, which I know sounds crazy, but that's where I was.
Well, I think that's the part of the story here that is so normal. It's the fact that what you're saying is something that so many women across America. In fact, I just looked at stat up. Sorry to interrupt, but it's
you're fine.
1 in 7. That was the statistic I found doing a little bit of research on MedMD and stuff. 1 in 7 women in America that have a baby experience postpartum depression. It looks differently, like you said. Not everybody wants to hurt themselves. Not everybody wants to hurt their baby. There are a lot of versions of it. But those things do exist where they want to hurt themselves and they want to hurt their baby.
Which goes into like the psychosis. Like that's wherever it's like really, really serious. But yeah, there's like a lot of different types. And Mississippi is actually the highest.
Really? Now, I didn't see that. That's interesting. Do you think that has something to do with prenatal care?
Well, we actually have the highest infant mortality rate and maternal mortality rate. So
as a medic, I'm embarrassed. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I need to figure that one out.
Yeah, I didn't know this until I went through this either. Yeah. But yeah, Mississippi is the highest for all of these issues. So just
that's
kind of a side note, but yeah,
it's being at the top of the things you don't want to be at the top of again, unfortunately, right? But it's good to recognize that. So just like with your journey right here, where you can't fix a problem until you recognize there's a problem. Knowing that that's part of what Mississippi's dealing with does feel like that there needs to be a path, and hopefully these types of podcasts where information get put out there will help at least influence people that can have an impact on that, take action. So then as this thing starts to develop, how many people in your corner are involved now? Are you letting your parents know, your friends know? How many people know where Bailee's at in this spiral that you're going through?
Yeah, so Austin definitely knew everything, obviously, because he was there through it all. And also, he was only supposed to take 2 or 3 weeks off. He ended up having to take, I think it was 7 weeks until
good to his
right.
employer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it was unpaid, but we made it through, but that's just what we had to do at that point. But yeah, he was home with me. They knew, but they didn't know how bad. Yeah. If that makes sense.
No, it does.
Austin may have, we haven't really talked about it after that. Like, I knew that they knew it was bad. I don't know if they knew exactly how bad, but it goes into what came next. Everything, like we had tried everything and nothing was happening, and it was very bad to the point where it was all the suicidal thoughts. And so at this point, we made the decision to admit me to Parkwood had a women's area that was supposed to be for like, women's mental health and like those crisis situations. Yes. And so we made that decision, hardest decision I've ever had to make in my entire life.
How far out is this now from the birth now?
It's about 2 weeks.
So this is still happening. This is like spiraling hard in the 2 weeks.
Yeah, from the time I had the first suicidal thought to this, it was like fast.
That is rapid succession.
So, like if I look back now, I can tell you the story, but it is very cloudy from like like me and Austin discussing it, I honestly don't really remember a lot from these, like the first 2 to 3 weeks after. Like it was really bad. I remember like the big stuff. I don't remember a lot of little details. That's why I'll go back and be like, oh, by the way, this, because I'll just like remember it. Talking
comes
about
back
it.
to you. Yeah.
But so I admitted myself to there. They and this is nothing against them at all. I just don't think that they had seen postpartum, like they didn't know how to deal with postpartum depression, because at this point I am still healing, like I'm physically healing and mentally healing. So and I don't think they ever really saw anything like that. And so I was there for a day. I was supposed to stay longer, but at this point I did feel the Holy Spirit on my life, and I felt him be like, okay, this isn't serving you. Like you need to go home and be with your husband and your daughter. Like that's where you need to be. That's where you need to be to heal. And at like where they were just, my situation was very different. I'm not saying that like if you're going through something like that, it's not going to work for you. It just didn't work for me personally.
This is your journey. This is what you're going through.
And so I felt him tell me to go home. So I actually discharged myself. Really? And I called my mom and I said, you got to come get me. And I still wasn't doing very good at this point. Like I was still having the suicidal thoughts, and which don't recommend, because you're not supposed to leave if you still have them. But I knew it wasn't serving me. And so went home, and that's wherever I just was dropping to my knees. I was praying 24/7, letting my tears be a prayer, and I did feel hopeless at that point. It felt a little bit of both. Like I felt hopeless because I feel like that is the absolute last resort that someone has to go to get help for this. But I also felt like, okay, I'm going home. Like I'm going to be able to get better at home. And so over the next week, I was really leaning into my faith, really leaning into my relationship with Christ. And I was also putting the work in. Like I would walk with Mary Beth to check the mail, to like walk to the end of the driveway, get the mail, and walk back. That would be a huge step. Like that would be the biggest thing I did that day. But I did it. And like
small
also
steps
was like,
matter.
hey, you're walking to the mailbox. Good job. Like he was there for me through everything. Or like I would make a bottle without having a panic attack. Also be like, hey, you just made a bottle and you fed her and you were fine with it. It was like small steps like that. And then like I was in preparation to go back to work too, and like be able to do stuff whenever Austin went back to work. So I would drive to the end of the road to our Dollar General, a mile down the road, and back, like with her, just to like small steps. And like changing her diaper, giving her a bath, like without panicking. It was just small steps like that. So over the next 2 weeks, about a month, I was still having a little bit of issues. I was in therapy at this point, but I was doing small things to actively help myself through Christ. Definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without my relationship with Christ. And I do want to emphasize that, because I had to do stuff myself to, get past this, but he gave me the hope in order to get past it.
Two things stand out to me on that. Is one, you have to have a conscious understanding of where you are, and to be able to recognize that not everybody can. And you even talked about the brain fog you were having and how you had these disconnect moments. That is sometimes tough to rationalize what's going to make it better. But the one thing though that you have to have for prayer to ever work, and I think this is true to form in every aspect of life, is you got to have faith. If you don't believe in the prayer, if you don't believe that your relationship is going to matter, then it's an empty prayer. You have to have that faith. And then not knowing what that's going to look like next. And by that, I mean, the path forward will have to be better. It's going to be hopeful, but you don't know necessarily what it's going to look like. And so what you were doing, you were putting a star on it. Like I went to the mailbox. Good. All right. I got to recognize that.
And
that's
I still remember my first trip to the mailbox.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I still remember that. And I'm not going to say that it was easy. Like I didn't just pray and it was immediately fixed. I had moments where I was like, God, why me? Like, why are you doing this to me?
Sure.
Like, why was the enemy able to get in on me like this? Like I asked a lot. Like I wouldn't say doubt in him. It was just like, why is this happening to me? Like, and there was moments where I was angry, like very angry, crying, like, why is this happening to me? But we got through it.
I want to be fair on this, Bailee. So you're a young person, and sometimes whenever things come your way, and you just mentioned it too, you never really faced some torturous storms prior to this. The first time you're ever tested in life, it is easy to feel victimized and to feel left and abandoned, as basically what you're explaining. And it does take time, and that's where wisdom can come from. And so I will say, a 20-year-old Chris Camp probably would not have had the strength and faith in something that is happening that I don't feel like is fair. I think we can always use the word fair to us. Like, what did I do to deserve this? Versus the 52-year-old Chris Camp that's in front of you now that has experienced so many things, and recognizing the storm I'm going through might be the very thing I need for what's coming next, or someone else that's coming. And I need this testimony to be able to help them. And it's hard to think that way in the moment. It takes time to pass. And so recognizing later that, and that's why we're here today, is that your story matters to others.
And I'm glad that you said that too, because I first want to say that through all of this, even though I felt like the enemy's voice was louder, the Holy Spirit never left. Like, he always has a hand on your life. No matter, like, even if you feel like, I did feel a couple of times like, where are you? Like, I remember one of my prayers was just, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Because I didn't feel like I felt him, but his hand was there. Like, looking back now, I know his hand was there. Job
is a great example in the Bible of somebody that went through tons of stuff, and the whole time his wife's like, come on, man, just curse the God. Don't worry about it. Just let it go. And he's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think that, what I've been able to recognize as I've gotten older and been through some stuff too, is that actually that's when I'm getting my faith stronger. Because whenever I'm going through those tough times, it's real hard to have great faith when things are going well. You really got to have great faith when things are not going the way you want them to. That's the toughest thing. And that actually takes a relationship that goes deep, and then trust and a faith that is something most people cannot understand unless they have that relationship. It's tough.
That's what I was going to say. It was that, like, I am a better mom because of what I went through, for sure. Like, I give thanks in the smallest of situations, like, especially whenever this was all fresh and I got through it. I would be feeding her and I would just be looking at her and I would be like, thank you, Jesus, for letting me feed her without having a panic attack. And like, it just makes
small things.
Yeah, it makes me more thankful for the small things that I couldn't do. And I know, like, to some moms that may not have went through that, it probably sounds crazy. Like, what do you mean you couldn't feed your kid? Like, what do you mean that you couldn't change their diaper? What do you mean you couldn't drive in the car with them without freaking out? It happens to more people than you think.
1 in 7.
Yes. And the highest Mississippi, again.
And the highest is Mississippi.
Yes, but it did make me more thankful, and still more thankful to this day. Like, I'll have many moments where I'm like, thank you for getting me through that thing. Like, you know,
we started this conversation with perspective.
Yes.
We started it that way.
Yeah. But I definitely I don't think that I would be the mom that I am today without that, without going through all that.
Absolutely.
Awful thing. And to talk about that being your first storm, that's a heavy storm to go through for your first storm. Yes.
Yeah, you're thinking about killing yourself. Your kid's brand new, and this is the life you've always wanted.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's falling apart, and you can't rationalize and fix it. You're like, I'm a type A. I fix things. How come I can't fix it?
Yeah.
That's the hardest faith of all, is the moment where it's like, I can't. What? Oh, that's because he can.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
That's where you find your strength.
That is the strength, for sure. You know, this is a faith-based platform.
Yeah.
You've watched, I'm sure I've heard of some of them. And the stories that come across here is nothing shy of a miracle. You're right. I want to touch on one thing you just mentioned, that not everybody will understand what you're saying because they haven't experienced it.
Yeah.
And it does go, again, hand in hand with the idea of perspective. And me doing this platform and having these conversations has given me such a broader idea of what people go through, because you can't always experience everything, nor would you want to experience everything in life. But there's a part of you that's that human element that can understand a person's situation and what they've been through is not always unique to them, but that's how you can feel. You can feel like you're in this boat all by yourself in this big, vast ocean, all alone with no direction. And when you came to me about the story of wanting to tell what you went through, and it was something that was very foreign to you, you're one of 7.
Yep.
And that's what came to me. It's like, yes, there are so many people that'll see this and they're thinking to themselves, I thought I was losing my mind. I thought this was just me. I thought I had some kind of weird disease that I couldn't fix.
Yeah.
It's actually a normal thing. It's a hormonal shift that starts to happen.
Yeah.
And you got to fix
other
this.
factors
and
too.
other factors, sure.
But and they said, like, baby blues, it's not quite postpartum depression, but I think it was like 90% of women go through it, where the hormone shift makes you just sad. Like, you know, and you probably still feel crazy even with the baby blues. Like, why am I feeling so sad when I just gave birth to this precious gift?
Why am I crying right now? I don't even know why my eyes are leaking.
Exactly. Yeah. And I will tell you too, every single time I talk to another woman about what I went through, or like my mom would talk to somebody about what I went through or something, either they went through it or they know somebody that went through it, but nobody talks about it.
That's it.
Because there's such a stigma around it. They feel
embarrassed.
Horrible. Yes.
They feel ashamed. They feel like they failed.
Yeah.
All the things you've already mentioned today.
Why should I feel like this, basically? And I don't want to tell anybody that I feel this way. And that's why I think even saying the 1 in 7, I think it's probably more like 1 in 5 that's just not reported. Maybe even 1 in 3, honestly, because I'm telling you, every woman that I've talked to, they've either gone through it, not as bad as me, but they've gone through a depression or anxiety, or they know somebody that did.
Yeah. So you're deep into this thing now. You've been going to some therapy. You're taking your small wins. You're growing day to day. How long until you start to feel like Bailee Harris that was always Bailee Harris?
I'll say by week 6, which that was a fast recovery too, I will say. Like a lot of women, and I'll say this too, your postpartum, your whole first year after giving birth, you can develop postpartum depression 11 months postpartum. Like
wow,
it's not
I didn't know that.
Yes. So the first year is very fragile. Like you're still healing. You maybe feel healed physically, but you're still healing emotionally, like for that first year. A lot of women, they go on this for months without even knowing that that's what it is. So they feel like this for months and they don't know. So I will say by me feeling better within a month, that's crazy. It really is.
But you were kind of taking action pretty early.
Yeah, just because I'm so in tune with myself and I knew that goes on top of the research too. I did research on postpartum depression before to know the signs, so I knew the signs, but I still didn't like that it was happening to me, and I was still freaked out that it was happening to me, but I was like, okay, we need to do something about this. Something's not right. So I started feeling better by week 6, but I will say by 3 months in, I really did start to feel like more like myself. And now I feel, me and Austin were just talking about this today, I feel better today than I did before I got pregnant.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like been a whole full body revival to yourself.
Definitely.
Almost as though that you reconnected in a way that now you're a stronger, better person, like you were saying. And moving forward, you have something that you can share with other people to help them. I am curious about this. I know it's kind of backtracking a little bit, but I was wondering about it a while ago. And who was the first person you mentioned to? Because I think about this as myself. Whenever I've been as a paramedic, people that have brought this to my attention from PTSD in particular, not so much postpartum, but just depression. Who was the first person that you mentioned, I want to hurt myself, and what was the reaction?
It was Austin because, he knew the dissociation and the panic attacks and everything that was going along with it. The first time I felt that way, I ran to him, tears in my eyes. I was like, this is the thought that I just had. I'm scared, basically. Yeah. He cried too because he was scared. He was terrified that this whole thing, he saw... I feel like it's already hard for a husband to see their wife give birth just because it's the hardest thing that they'll ever do physically. And you go through that. And then, we had an emotional whirlwind with her almost having to go Lebanon 3 days old. And then, your wife ends up back in the hospital. He went through a lot too. So whenever I told him this, it was very hard for him to, it was hard for this whole journey was together. He went through a lot too. Yeah. So, but he was there every step of the way. But yeah, it was very scary for both of us.
I was wondering because I know when folks have come to me and being what I have been and being a professor now that teaches paramedic school and stuff, people will confide in me because I've had a lot of experiences. I've had, unfortunately, several friends that did commit suicide. And so I always make that look, if you feel a certain way, say something, say something quick, say something to somebody. Yeah. I don't care who it is. And they will come to me and they'll say, hey, look, I've been feeling these ways about myself. Yeah. And then you get them help. But sometimes, like you said, too, it's not always the right path. And that's one thing I want to encourage folks to do. So if you're listening to this and you've had these kind of thoughts or these kind of feelings, one, tell somebody. Tell somebody you trust. Tell somebody. The second part is if you try to address it and it doesn't feel right, it's not fitting for you, go somewhere else. Don't give up on it. Don't quit, which has been something that I've experienced in the past with others, is that they tried something, it wasn't the thing, and then it was too late. Don't let that happen. I interviewed a military guy that's coming on in November, and we talked about 22 veterans a day commit suicide. It should not be taboo. It is okay that you have bad thoughts. It's not okay to keep them. Exactly. Tell somebody. Yeah. And so without that, where do you think Bailee would have been if you wouldn't have addressed these problems?
I don't think I would have. I don't know. I don't think I ever would have, just because I was so in tune and I was having thoughts and the plans were happening in my head. But deep down, I knew I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I don't know how that is compared to other people's journeys. But where do you think your life would be right now if you'd have just kept all this bottled up?
Because that's what people do.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even imagine.
They don't want to share with people. They want to it's their problem. They don't want to burden other people, right?
Yeah.
These are the thoughts that somebody's having right now in their head. I don't want to burden somebody with this.
Yeah, no, it's not. Do
you think you would have just suddenly been better?
No.
No.
No, definitely not.
And neither will you out there.
Yeah.
Trust this moment. Ask somebody for help. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I've given a lot of speeches. One of my speeches I gave not too long ago was, it's okay to not be okay. I think people forget that. They forget that, you know, we all go through different things. And if you're struggling, don't carry that burden alone. Get somebody in your corner, even if it's a stranger, by the way. There's plenty of places that'll go where strangers care. Believe me, if you know me and you have my access, you can contact me anytime, and if I can help you in any way, I will. So then you come through this 5 months down the road, you're stronger, you're better, Bailee. Family life is good. Let me ask the next question. I have this down here is, do you have concerns about kids in the future, having more?
Yes.
Okay.
That is, yes.
That's fair.
So Austin and I, we were like, I want 2 kids back to back. Like, 2 years apart type thing, like back to back. We talked about we wanted 2 to 4 kids, you know. And after all this, we are taking a step back just right now because, I mean, I am fearful because of, and it's not just like the postpartum depression, but it's like the preeclampsia and everything
all
that
the
I
other
went through
health
with
problems.
that. Yes. And so I'm not saying like no 100%, but right now definitely. And I did tell him, like, if we have another kid, I don't want too many diapers. She needs to be at least like 4 or 5 before we have another one.
Some things have adjusted. That's life too. You got to adjust sometimes.
Yes. And he's adjusting with me. He's like, I don't want to see you go through that again either.
Well, that's what your partner needs to do. You guys, look, when we go into this life and we pick somebody to take the ride with us, you need somebody that you know you can trust with everything. And life is going to throw you a lot of curveballs, as they say. And if y'all don't roll with it, man, it's going to be tough. So it's good that you have somebody like that. And look, already what you shared with me about how he stepped up in the tough times and didn't question that.
Yeah.
I think that's another message to guys out there.
Yeah.
Recognize that if your wife is struggling with something like this, don't write it off, one, and don't make her feel guilty,
Don't
two.
shame her.
Don't shame her,
Yeah.
which I think maybe does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, why ain't you, stronger than this? Or why are you having these problems?
Yeah.
You should be happy with this, whatever. Instead of just saying, all right, honey, let's see what's going on and let's see what we can do to get you right.
Yeah. And not only that, but taking the reins on taking care of your baby too.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because I know, I mean, I feel like it's kind of like an old fashioned thing, but you'll hear a lot of old guys. They'll say, oh, I never changed a diaper. Oh, I never did that. Don't be that guy.
I'm not that guy, but I will say during my days I had to put a mask on because the smell would get me.
You got to do what you got to
So I
do.
just had to struggle through it some, but yeah.
But like take the reins. Like if she needs to take a little me time, and this is like for all postpartum women, whether you're going through depression or not, like let her have a little me time.
Yeah,
because you
that's
can
good.
definitely get lost in that. Like take the baby for an hour, let her go take a bath, let her do whatever she wants to do.
I like that.
So, yeah.
Being understanding. So then I know that this sparked something inside you. You recognizing not only one, that what this struggle was very abnormal to you, recognizing this happens to other people. You didn't just sit back and say to yourself, well, Bailee, you came out of it. You're okay. Moving forward in life, you said, hey, I want to take action and I want to help other people, because if this happened to me, chances are it's happening to someone else, and they're just as confused. They're just as scared.
Yeah.
And they probably feel like that this person that they've become suddenly, they don't even know. And you did. And you started Light After Labor Ministries. Talk about that.
Okay, so whenever I started feeling better, I just felt in this situation and this journey really did strengthen my relationship with Christ. And I just felt him say, okay, you went through this for a reason to help other people, because it's not talked about enough, and like you need to help other people because now that you know how it is. Because I will say, like, before I had a baby, my friends or like my family members would have babies, I would just go right on over, give me the baby, whatever. But now I'm like, okay, no, I would go over, bring them a meal, ask them if they need me to clean anything. Like, I show up very differently. And so all that to say, I said, okay, I need to help people. I didn't know how that was going to look. Like, I just knew that he was like, you need to do something with this. And so I just went back and forth. I was like, should I do a meal delivery service? What should I do? And so before I even knew what I wanted to do, my friend Pam Pegram, I don't know if you know her or not.
Man, that does sound familiar.
With Gather Women with Tina Tatum.
Okay, that's probably where I've heard her name, because Tina's been on the show.
Yeah, and I think she does some type of ministry at Get Well Church. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I met with her because she has her own ministry, and I was like, look, this is what I want to do. I don't know what it's going to look like. I just need your guidance. And she has given me guidance through this. She gave me a table at Gather, the women's conference, perfect place to talk about postpartum depression. And I just like use that to gather attention around it kind of and just see what women needed, or like whenever they were going through it, what they would have wanted and what they would have needed at the time. And so now we've transitioned to I'm selling a shirt through Fund the Nations to raise money to put together care packages to deliver to postpartum women at Baptist DeSoto, kind of like DeSoto Hope that we talked about before this. And I've been talking to Tracy also, and so that's where we're at now, selling shirts, wanting to start doing that. I don't know.
You said they can find that link at Fund the Nations?
Fund the Nations, yes. Or they can follow Light After Labor on Facebook, and everything's
Light
on
After
there.
Labor on Facebook. All right. I'll have those two descriptions or two links in that into the description.
Perfect. Yeah. But so we're selling shirts for that. I don't know where it's going to go from there, but that's kind of where we're at now. And just go at it through like faith-based, just let them know like, you know, God can get you through it. Like I said, you're going to have to do some work, but ultimately, like, he's your rock. Like, you can lean on him. So that's where I'm at now. Just really spreading awareness and just being there for women who are going through it, because I know exactly what it's like.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Bailee, that's one of the things that's been so inspiring to me doing the podcast is just having people come in and they talk about how they had this conviction and this calling to do something more, whatever that was, and they didn't know how it was going to look. They didn't know where to start. They didn't know what to do. They just had faith and took a step. I don't know if you know Miss Diane Height with Forever Young Veterans. She started a nonprofit for veterans that had been traumatized. I'm sure Miss Ann Lunsford that does the Precious in Pink Ministries. I'm actually a part of that, which is a prison ministry for women. There are so many things. And then my boy Stacy Dodd that I'm a part of with him, with the Hope Center, you know, so many of these organizations started with nothing more than an idea and a passion to help others. And they took action. And there's somebody right now, too, that's watching this that's been through some trauma, and they're thinking to themselves, I always wanted to help so-and-so with something. You can. Start. Start.
You don't even have to have a plan. Just do it.
You don't have to have a plan. You have a passion and an idea. Go. Do something, because you're never going to go anywhere if you don't start. You got to start somewhere.
I mean, I never had the idea to sell shirts.
Right.
But I just like thought of it one day and I was like, okay, I remember From the Nations. Let me do it. Like you'll just got to roll with it.
Just roll with it. And you would have probably never thought to even go down the road of helping other people with postpartum until it happens to you. And all of a sudden it's like, this is a part of my ministry of my life. And I do believe that that's the bigger picture. God does put us in positions to struggle sometimes because he realizes you're the chosen one. You're the right one for this. I'm picking you. Later, you'll see it. In the moment, maybe not. But later, if you look back for the blessing, you're like, there's the gift.
Well, really, I thought at the time I was the last person that would ever go through something like that.
Sure.
So after I went through it, I'm like, okay, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. That's why I said, like, whenever you go through it, you show up differently. Whenever you know somebody who went through it, you show up differently. And so that's why I always tell people, and that's part of the awareness, not just like if you're going to have a baby, whatever, even if you're a man, like be aware of the signs, but also show up for people in your life differently. You know, if you know somebody that's had a baby, show up for them. Don't just show up for the baby. Yes, I know the baby's cute. I know they probably need help with the baby, but show up for the mama too. Like, don't forget about the mom.
Absolutely.
So I always say, like, bring them a meal, bring them their favorite candy, ask them if they need help cleaning anything, ask them if they need groceries, bring them snacks, like whatever it is they need. And even if they say that they don't need anything, do something anyway. If they don't want visitors, drop something off to them, respect their wishes.
Sure.
Don't overwhelm them. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, just show up for them.
Bailee, I'm excited to see where you take this, where you go in life. You're so young and the opportunities are going to be so big for you out there. And just the fact that you have a heart to step out and share your story, which is vulnerable, right? So it's not something that in the moment you probably ever dreamed you'd be telling millions of people. Bailee Harris went through these problems, but the fact that it happened to you, it can happen to anybody, and that's reality. And you're taking action on that, and you're helping people, and I think that's amazing. I'm so blessed and thankful that you come down to the studio and shared this with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you for letting me.
Yeah, I know that this is going to touch a lot of lives out there. So, as a last comment, as we wrap up here, what would you say to people out there right now, or just do you have any final thoughts for yourself? Yeah,
and I know this is like based around postpartum depression, but even if you don't like have experience with that or know anybody, really what I went through is just a testament to say God will get you through it. Like, no matter what you're going through. And I know that sounds so cliche and like people say it all the time, but genuinely, and you really don't know, like I didn't know until I went through something that bad, but he will get you through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yea, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil.
Yep.
That's good. Bailee, thank you so much. I wish you the best. You and your baby, by the way. Your baby's beautiful. I've seen the pictures on Facebook.
Little baby doll.
Little baby doll. It does look like a baby doll. That's so true.
She's actually going to be a Cabbage Patch Kid for Halloween. So, yeah, perfect.
That is cute.
Yes.
I want to say my kid was a hot dog once when he was a little man. That's what I remember of anyway. So I don't know why we chose that. Who knows? Maybe I had been at a camp out. Man, if Derek was there, he would have eaten a hot dog because we know about him and hot dogs and breaking legs. So I just want to throw this in real quick. If you guys know anybody out there that may be going through some postpartum depression, I did look this up. It's the National Maternal Mental Health Hotline. National Maternal Mental Health Hotline. Easy for me to say, right? So you could text 1-833-TLC MAMA, M-A-M-A. So 1-833-TLC M-A-M-A. So anyone you know out there, use that. It'll also be in the show notes. And Miss Bailee, thanks again for coming out, and many blessings to you and your family. And good job, Austin. Way to step up, big dog. We all proud of you over here at SRPstudiosLLC.com. All right, and so I want to thank you guys for tuning in each and every week. Thank y'all so much. I love y'all, man. Look, continue to send those awesome comments. I'm going to ask you, please go to my website, motivatewithcoachcamp.com. Subscribe to my YouTube, and until next time, Coach Camp out.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is